Hey guys, it's Kris Jones for episode 6 of Ask Me Anything. I want to thank all of you that participated yesterday in responding to my question, asking for comments, actually posting comments, asking me questions. I got that video to you and I hope that you enjoyed the quality of it. I wanted to let you know that I decided to up the ante in terms of the value that I'm giving to you in these videos. I thought me just standing here kind of impromptu and being authentic was certainly the best way to add value, but I also thought I would invest some money in the actual production of these videos. So I want to thank Cole Creative for their work in shooting these videos. I'm not standing here alone right now. I actually have a small production crew who is helping me out. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want you to see the quality that they put together at Cole Creative, but I also want you to take as much as you can from these videos. And some of the first initial videos that I did weren't of the greatest quality. So, thanks to the team at Cole Creative. So I wasn't able to get to all of the comments that were posted, so I'm going to jump into those right now. First, Scott Clark said, what are some concrete observations that would tell you that you need to let a client go? Besides the obvious, he says, not paying. Should we as entrepreneurs and business owners be in the business of thinking about how to let a client go? I think it's a great question, Scott, but I'm going to play a little bit of sort of counterintuition here. I think that we shouldn't be in the business of making money. So the idea of not getting paid, while is a good reason to fire a client, I think we should be in the business of making clients happy. I think that no matter what product it is that you sell or what service you offer, I think that we have to become religious about creating raving fans of our clients. Honestly, we need to hold ourselves fully accountable for the product and the service, the delivery of what it is that we give to our clients. So if we go under contract with a client and we're doing everything we can religiously to serve them and to add value and to deliver our product and service in the way that we promised, and we're getting paid within reason, sometimes clients need some room, we need to fulfill that contract. And I don't think that we need to be looking for ways of getting out of the contract. This is my 18th year as an entrepreneur. I could tell you that I have had some really, really tough clients to deal with. And over the rest of my career, I expect to have more of the same. I guess my point is that I wanted to, in reflecting on this question, I wanted to communicate first and foremost that we shouldn't be looking for ways of getting out of client engagements. We should really be focusing on how we make them happy, how we serve them, and it shouldn't be about the money. And my advice to you would be to do everything you can to serve that client until the end of the engagement. If that client is having trouble paying you, I think that you should be as flexible as you can within reason. That said, focus on making people happy and you won't have too many clients you want to fire. Second question. This is great. I love this question. This is from a local friend of mine who I went to high school with, Mike Harry. I have 3 young children. My oldest is 8 years old. My daughter will be 7 in just 2 weeks. And my youngest, Jackson, is 5 years old. And I'm sharing that with you because those of you that know me and follow me know how much I love and celebrate my kids. My friend Mike has a superstar, total rock star daughter who, if I'm not mistaken, is still in high school. And if she's not still in high school, she's still a very young woman. She also is a published author. And so Mike's question is, what would be the best marketing strategy for a young author rather than using the marketing strategy the self-publisher suggests? So I am an author. I've published 3 books. I was fortunate enough to have the marketing arm of a very large publisher in Wiley Publishing to help me promote the book and to give me distribution in all then the traditional bookstores that existed. So how could I add value here in this question? So I'm a big believer in personal brand. I think people buy, like I said in a previous video, they buy based on how things make them feel. As it relates to a book, I think that your daughter needs to position herself, and it takes time. It takes, in some cases, years, position herself as a thought leader and as an expert in that particular topic. It's grueling, but she needs to be able to leverage social media and build up her social media following and her social media influence. She needs to find opportunities to speak locally, to speak nationally, to put herself out there as a thought leader and as an expert. She's a published author. She has an advantage that most other experts in her genre don't have. But you know what? When push comes to shove, you know what makes an expert? Somebody else saying they are. Well, I'm going to tell you what makes an expert have influence. When they put themselves in positions where they're thought leaders. And so public speaking, writing sort of shorter form thought leadership articles, getting them published wherever, online, offline, and then just working really, really hard. You know, I've worked very, very hard, you know, over the last number of years and very consciously to build my personal brand so that when I launch a new business or I publish an article or I publish a book, people are ready to buy it. So it takes time. Your daughter is an absolute rock star. It's been fun to watch this journey. Recently, I know you shared some pictures of your daughter at a local Barnes & Noble signing books. I mean, like, holy cow, as parents, you can't get any more proud than that. So Mike, you're a stud for, you know, being such a great father and inspiring her to be an author. It takes a lot of work. Tell her, and I'm sure she'll watch this, put yourself out there. Become the expert and become the thought leader and become the success that you want to become. Don't let anybody else slow that down. And over a period of time, you'll see. I'll share a quick story with you. I was, it was the late 90s. I was a graduate student at Villanova, and I had the opportunity to meet Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And I said to Robert F. Kennedy, I said, and by the way, I was a student. You know, I didn't have any business success. Most people didn't know who I was, but I did have the opportunity to ask him. I said, I want to make a difference in this world. How do I do it? And he looked at me and he said, what's your name? And I said, my name is Kris Jones. And he said, Kris Jones, I'll tell you how to do it. Accomplishments, accomplishments, accomplishments. And at that time, I didn't have many. So that came at me and I was like, what is he talking about? That sounds like a lot of hard work over a long period of time. That's my answer to you. But, you know, if you could build the confidence to put yourself out there, the only thing separating you and even more accomplishments than you've already had is taking that first step. Let's see. Next question. There's a question in here by Vivek on how effective is retargeting for B2B, for a business-to-business audience. So my response to this is that you need to understand your sales funnel. You need to understand, you know, how broad you need to go to bring in qualified prospects. Then you need to define how to move those prospects through a sales funnel to get them to do whatever it is that you want them to do. I will tell you that retargeting is going to be one of your most cost-effective ways of doing that. And feel free to reach out to me and challenge me on that, but I actually think it's going to be one of your most cost-effective. By the way, retargeting is really meant to just target people who are already in your audience. So these are people who are already qualified. That said, I would say it's going to be one of your best ROIs of all. So finally, and for those of you that are watching here, please post questions below that I could answer, you know, in a future episode of Ask Me Anything. That's an important part of this. You know, this is not meant to be a lecture series or for me to, you know, just ramble on about, you know, things that I don't care about. I'd ultimately like to answer questions that you guys care about and things that you guys are either struggling with or thinking about that might be able to advance your life in a direction that you want to go to. So Forrest Schaff, one of my most successful entrepreneur friends, lives out out in Los Angeles. Forrest, thanks for commenting. You say to me, do you favor instinct or analysis? And then you also say, do you favor goals, focusing on the end game, or systems, focus on development and experimentation? That, my friend, is a real deal question. First, I use my intuition 9 out of 10 times. I've built up muscle around it. I've built up confidence around it. And 51% of the time, it leads me in the right direction. And as an investor, that's pretty good. That said, I'm a total data nerd, and I love to think through how to get to from point A to point Z. I just always start with the outcome, which really ties into the second part of your question around, do I favor goals or systems? Almost everything I do in life is being driven by an outcome. The reason I'm standing right here in front of the video camera talking to you guys is because I deeply care in my heart about giving back. This for me is about contribution. It's about self-actualization. The business investments I make tend to have an outcome. You know, my desire to be the best person I could become has very specific outcomes. So I like to think through how to get to my outcome. So I'm following my intuition along the way, constantly, every day, making decisions in real time based on what my gut tells me. But at the same time, you know, I want to think through how I ultimately am going to increase the odds of getting to wherever it is that I want to go. I will share one last story. So I was at a global internet marketing conference for Tiger Global about 4 years ago. And I was one of the speakers, and I got to sit at the same table as our keynote, Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell said that society has it all wrong. He said that most people in society think us entrepreneurs are just these crazy risk takers, that we just want to drive around in Lamborghinis as fast as they could go, and we don't care if we hit anything. He said that they were partly right and partly wrong. He said that successful entrepreneurs, and by the way, I underline successful, because through this whole video series, I want you guys to understand that most entrepreneurs fail. And together, we're going to try to highlight the reasons why certain entrepreneurs are successful and other entrepreneurs fail. But back to Gladwell. Gladwell said that successful entrepreneurs are social risk takers, but they're operationally risk averse. What that means is that if you tell me that I can't do something, I'm a successful entrepreneur, I'm highly unlikely to internalize that such that I don't take action towards my outcome. However, when I make a decision, I'm operationally risk averse. In other words, Forrest, I care deeply about analysis. You know, I care deeply about systems. You know, I want to make sure that, you know, once I set a goal, that I think through, it doesn't have to be the perfect way of getting to my outcome, but it needs to be one that's carefully, operationally risk averse, and that ultimately increases my odds of being successful. So that's all I have for you guys today. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Take a look at the Cole Creative guys. Those guys are doing amazing work with Facebook Live. I hope to see you guys again soon, but not if you guys don't post questions. So thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.